Good morning, 7th grade. Hope you're having a good day so far. Let's just jump right into this right here. We're talking about Orthoptera. And these are known as the straight-winged insects. Now, first picture I have here is of a praying mantis. And he is, of course, part of the Orthoptera. Very interesting class we have here. Let me just get my laser pointer out here. And we can take this word, and like we do with most words, we will split it apart. So, ortho, if you've ever been to the orthopedic surgeon before, what his job is to do is to make sure that your body and those different bones in your body are straight, or at the very least the way they are supposed to be. And so ortho has to do with the idea of things being straight. Ptera, once again, has to do with the wings. And so that's why they're called the straight-winged insects. Now, this contains crickets, grasshoppers, katydids, locusts, of course mantises, and cockroaches. Now, isn't that interesting that all of these belong to the exact same class? Because when I look at a lot of these guys here, they seem very different. Now, some are similar. Like, I can definitely see similarities between, grasshoppers and locusts and things like that. But the mantis and the cockroach, those look very different. However, they are still in the same class because of the way they hold their wings. Now, it says here, once again, when they are not flying, they hold their narrowly folded wings straight along their body. And so, instead of their wings forming a tent, like we saw last week with another class, we are talking about insects now that hold their wings straight along their body. Now, they mostly eat plants, but the mantises each exclusively eat meat. Now I have meat in parentheses because it's not quite the meat that you are thinking about. For example, a lot of the time you would not categorize bugs as meat, but yet the mantis actually eats bugs. There is another one of these guys that actually does eat some meat as well that is not just the mantis, but we'll get into that a bit later. Now, we're going to get into the grasshoppers here. And grasshoppers come in two flavors or two different families. So we have the long-horned grasshopper, which is our katydids and our crickets. So this is an example up here of a long-horned grasshopper. If you can look, you can see I'm following the outline of its horns. It's very long. It's antenna right there. Then, of course, at the bottom, if we have something that is long-horned, then it must be something that is also short-horned. And the short-horned grasshopper is also given the name the locust. And so if you ever wondered what a locust looks like, here you go. Just like the ones talked about in the Bible. They are short-horned insects, and we actually have locusts that live in Florida. Believe it or not, when I lived close to a plant nursery, there was a lot of Florida loomers. And Florida loomer is another name for a type of locust. So they are crazy, and they love to eat anything that they can get their mouths on. Let's keep on going. Well, plant-wise, of course. Let's keep going here. Now it says, locusts follow each other so much that they will swarm areas until nothing is left. And this is very true. In areas where locusts can just reproduce freely and there's nothing stopping them, they will come in giant swarms and basically destroy crops, fields, any sort of plant life in the area. They can't take down a tree by themselves, but these locusts can do some crazy stuff in a huge mob. And oftentimes, because there's so many of them and they all eat so much, they don't stay somewhere for very long. In fact, in the Bible, one of the plagues was that they were going to be dealing with these locusts and the effects on them, which is pretty crazy. That's just how dangerous these guys can be to your livelihood. Now from here, we're going to talk about some music makers. And you guys heard the expression before, hearing crickets, and that often has to do with the idea that, somebody said a joke that did not land, or, something's very boring and you can hear like crickets in the back. Well, grasshoppers are also known for making noise. Each species has a specific song, so a well-trained scientist can actually tell them apart better by sound than sight. Well, that's pretty crazy to think about. It's kind of cool to see that right there. but it is very true. When you are doing some insect watching, you can probably figure out what's around better by listening to the song than you would by actually seeing them, especially if it's from far away. Continuing on from here, their music-making organs are called stridulatory organs. This has to do with the word stridulation, which is dealing with like bumps, or if something is striated, it has bumps on it and things like that. Now, a scraper is one of the organs here, and it looks like a comb, and a file rubs across the comb to make the noise. So this is what the comb looks like right here. Oftentimes the scraper, my bad, the scraper looks like here. Oftentimes the file is the animal's leg, which is why when you see them in cartoons and things like that, they're moving their leg to make that noise. That's exactly what's going on. Now, from here, we're going to go on to blending in. Now, what a beautiful looking thing in this man's hand. I wonder what it is. Well, it says mantises. That's a mantis, believe it or not. It's what we call an orchid mantis. There we go, an orchid mantis. And they blend in with their environment, which leads to sneak attacks. They are carnivorous and have been seen eating both insects and different small lizards. And so mantises are very vicious. They may even turn on themselves and eat themselves. But this one right here, this orchid mantis, is very beautiful. And you can see it's basically camouflaged in a way that looks like an orchid. And so if one of these had to set up shop right next to an orchid plant, maybe it wouldn't even have to move to get its actual prey. It could just stand there, and the colors and the green on it, it's a beautiful, beautiful camouflage. And it's perfect for catching those different insects unaware. Man, that's pretty cool stuff, ain't it? Now, from here, they often hide by flowers to attract the prey. Okay, I already said this. But it is well worth noting, again, just how ingenious their actual hunting habits are. Instead of going and trying to find the prey and wasting all of their energy, the prey just comes to them. Crazy smart tactics right there. And God designed them into these animals. Just cool to see that. Now from here, we go on to cockroaches. Oh, I probably should have warned you before I just clicked that slide. But boy, that's a cockroach right there. It's a really large one, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit. There are about 4,000 species of cockroach. The good news is, though, only about 35 of them will actually ever really bother humans. And so inside of your house right now, you're dealing with one of 35 species of cockroach. And what's really interesting about this fact is also that they seem to change drastically based on whether you live in different parts of your state. I know when I used to live in Orlando, my landlady used to call them city roaches. And they were completely different from, town, like rural roaches or something like that. And I didn't understand the difference until I moved out here and I started seeing the roaches they have here. In city roaches, they tend to be a lot larger, whereas these roaches that I'm dealing with now seem to be a lot smaller, but still cockroaches. And it's difficult, and you don't really want them around in your house because... Okay, hold on, we'll get to that in a second. In fact, the Brazilian cockroach and Madagascar hissing cockroach, is what I have a picture of right here, are kept as pets, not pests. Ooh, I forgot about that. Let me see if I can just edit this real quick. Okay, just pen. I just, just mark this out. There we go. Kind of do this. Pets. I'm not very good at drawing with my new tools, but I'm getting used to it. Now from here, let me just erase all those. Let's just try to remember that it is pets, not pests. And from there it says, naturally nocturnal, these omnivores. Now, hopefully you guys remember what omnivores are, and if you do not, omnivores are animals that eat both meat and plants. And so cockroaches are known to eat both meat and plants, are more dangerous because of the diseases they spread than the food they eat. And so around your house, yeah, it's annoying that you have these cockroaches, and sometimes they get their way into your flour and things like that. But the real danger is actually the disease. Be very careful if you find cockroaches in your house not to cause any issues with them, and not to eat the food that the cockroaches have messed with unless you absolutely have to, because they do have different diseases attached to them. Now from here, we're going into another class here, and this is our last slide for today. Hope you guys are excited about that. And it is the odonata. Odonata. This ODO has to actually do with the word for teeth. It's where we get the word orthodontist from, and it's pretty cool there. And these are toothed insects. These insects are known for their sharp, tooth-like mouth structure. And we have a beautiful example on the right here. That is actually a dragonfly. Now, this class includes dragonflies and damselflies as well. Now, damselflies are very interesting, but dragonflies are our main focus in this class. We're not going to take too long with it. It says dragonflies are strong flyers. And they are definite flyers, that's for sure. And the males are often seen patrolling areas, chasing away other males, and attracting females. Sorry, got something in my throat there. Anyway, their main goal in patrolling the water is to make sure that the males can be like, hey, I'm tough. You don't mess with me. And then the females can see that and they'll be like, oh, wow, what a handsome guy. He's so strong and powerful. I might want to date him and have his eggs. That's what they do. But that's how it goes with these dragonflies here. And that is actually our last slide for today. Tomorrow we're going to get into, of course, more bugs. How awesome. I hope to see you guys later. Thank you and goodbye.